Well, hello everyone. This is Dr. Halderman from the Connors Clinic, and today I'm going to be presenting about screen time, blue light, and health. Now, if you're listening to this, I would bet money that you are not the type of person that believes that we can supplement or medicate ourselves to health, that true health goes beyond just swallowing a pill, that we need to focus on the foundations of health, which are having a good diet, making sure our environment is as best cleaned up as we can in terms of toxins, in terms of our air and water and things we're exposed to, like EMF, and that ties into today's talk. So when you have to say the same things over and over again, Dr. Connors has taught me that you should probably record a presentation on them. So I find myself talking a lot about screen time and our phones and our computers and TVs and how they can negatively affect our health. So today I'm going to really crank it out in a PowerPoint that you can listen to again and again and share with your friends if this is something that you think is cool, and I guarantee you will think this is really cool by the time I get done. So let's get started. So if you had to learn one thing from this whole entire PowerPoint and you had to walk away, the doorbell rang or the phone rang, just focus right in on this slide, that light at night is bad for your health, and exposure to blue light emitted by electronics may be especially so. So here's my personal experience with blue light. Now, I was really sick with Lyme disease, like couldn't get out of bed, really was very crippled. And I remember when someone asked me to write down a phone number, I would say, what's a 7? So really significantly impacted by chronic Lyme. And of course, at that time I was, I had a pretty basic standard American diet. I was doing a lot of things that I shouldn't be doing in terms of drinking, just tap water, and wasn't getting a lot of the nutrients that I needed. So there's a lot of things that were not going well for me. But one of the things that I really didn't understand is that when I was exposed to my phone after 8 p.m., so that's a screen, or watching TV, or, up late on my computer, is that I was literally crashing my body's ability to sleep. So I use what's called an Aura ring, and I have no affiliation other than I think it's really cool. So this is a picture of my screenshot from my phone of my Aura ring. So it's something I wear at night, and it records, actually you can wear it all day long, but I only wear it at night. It can record your sleep patterns so that you can learn about how you're sleeping and the interventions that you did during the day, how they're impacting your sleep, because sleep is one of the most important things that we need to optimize for health, from people who have cancer, have Lyme, have a disease, to perfectly healthy children. It's something we have to get right. We have to focus on. So my Aura ring told me that the night before, so this is recorded on April 5th. So on April 4th, it said to me when I woke up in the morning, it said, was someone looking at their phone last night? Because you sure were tossing and turning. And sure enough, Dr. Kelly was looking at her phone too late at night, and it blew my body's ability to have a good rest. And you know that when you don't sleep well, things aren't working so well, from your brain function, your pancreatic function, your blood sugar, everything takes a hit when we're not sleeping. So this is how I track it. And I also do some of the other interventions that we're going to talk about, how we protect ourselves. So God said, let there be light, and there was light. So light is a good thing. It's very healthy for us. Us up here in Minnesota get a little bit light deprived, and it starts to impact mood, and we get grouchy, especially Dr. Connors. Sheesh. So we really want to emphasize that I'm not saying that light is bad. I'm saying that when appropriate, it's really good for us. Bright light in the morning is one of the most important things you can do for your health. Is sometimes in the winter around here, I will get out the sun lamp and put it in the kitchen in the morning when the kids are eating breakfast and I'm preparing it, is that we're just getting bombarded with that bright light. So we love light. And we love the darkness as well. So God saw that the light was good and he separated the light from the darkness. God, you're so brilliant. He called the light day and the darkness night. So night is good. Night is a time where our bodies start to slow down and we start to get ready to have a really nice restful sleep where our bodies can repair and restore. So both are good. And then came along the invention of the light bulb. So, darkness and light have been around for a really, really long time. And we had respected that, and we just really didn't have any options. We just had to go to bed when it got dark. That's the way it was. And then, the light bulb came around, and then we started kind of tweaking how long we were able to stay up. And, that it came with good and the bad. So it just is what it is. And then the TV, wow, look at that clunker. The TV was invented, and I just have to laugh. That's a really old school. It looks like my great grandma's TV. Then we had light coming from this too. So we had a lot of options, for really increasing our light in our life. And then came along the LED screens. So as I'm sitting here doing this presentation, I'm staring at a screen and my phone is to my left and there's another screen. So, iPads and tablets and LED screens, they're everywhere. And from little kids to elderly people are using these screens. But with the advancement of technology, has it come at a cost? And I would say the answer is yes. And I was doing some research into this, and I thought it was really interesting that the Monsanto company was the first organization to mass produce visible LED lights. Interesting. And we're going to learn more about why LED lights aren't so fabulous after around 8 p.m. at night. So the LED screen, just to give you techies a little bit of background. So LED stands for light emitting diode. It's a type of LCD. So the advantages of LCD over incandescent light is that it's lower energy. So people think, oh, it's way better than the light bulb because there's lower energy consumption, longer lifetime, and a better picture. So you can really get those. I always think of watching TV and football and how it's really cool. You have those TVs that you feel like you're sitting on the sideline. So that's good. That's good technology. And interesting enough, the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2014 was given to the group who invented the blue light emitting diodes for the LED screen, because they revolutionized what we can do with our screens. But blue light has a dark side, and I have a friend who loves pugs, and so this is for you, Jamie, because I know you love pugs. The dark side is at 60 hertz, so that's in the gamma wave spectrum. So that's a little high level, but what I want to tell you is that your brain emits frequencies as well. And when it gets up into the 60 hertz, that gamma wave, that is the wave of cognition, engaging, attention. So when your brain is rattling off gamma waves and beta waves, you're just locked in and you are learning and excited like I am right now. I'm putting off a lot of gamma and beta waves and I'm staring at my screen. So my screen is actually giving me back. It's actually emitting those gamma waves. And what's interesting about the brain is that the brain likes to mimic the waves that it's getting put in. So right now, if you're looking at a screen, you're looking at your phone, it's emitting, you can't see it, but it's there. It's emitting these waves and your brain's like, oh, okay, so I'm going to match that and I'm going to emit those waves back. So you can kind of see how looking at our screens can almost become an addictive, because it boosts your attention, your reaction times, and you feel good. You start to feel like good if you're in a slump and you turn on your phone, you get that sort of, woo, okay, I'm back in it. My beta waves are working. But the dark side is that it's highly disruptive to natural sleep cycles. So at 8 p.m., 9 p.m. at night, we don't want to be sending our brain into this beta gamma wave, this excitatory attention, high attention pattern, okay, if that makes sense. So there's our pretty waves. So gamma, look at that, it's just like clipping along, and beta waves. So I put the slide in here because it's interesting that you can see that when we get into the alpha and the theta and the alpha and the theta and the delta, those are those sleepy waves, relax. So we just kind of start drifting in. Our brain just naturally is designed to start drifting into those slower waves, those alpha and the theta, when you're in bed and you're laying there and I'm almost ready to fall asleep. That's the way God designed it. Now, here's what I did and why my Oura ring told me I was naughty, is that my brain, it's winding down around 8:30 and 9 o'clock, and I'm in the alpha stage. And then I take out my phone and I look at my phone, and what does my phone do? It emits those gamma waves and beta waves. And even for a couple seconds of staring at it, my brain just got a boost. And what also happened is that my melatonin that started to go up at about 8 o'clock at night started to go up, 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 up. And that's good because you want your melatonin high when you're trying to get to sleep and stay asleep. My melatonin, just by looking at my screen, just plummeted. So that was reflected in my sleep score that my Oura ring gave me. So that's kind of how that works. So, the major job of your brain is to inhibit. And when you're giving it that punch at night, it's really not able to do its job. So when screens do the brain's job, so what's it doing? It's giving that gamma wave, and we're having, like our little kids, and I'm guilty of this too. We have some screen time that we allow in our house. So the brain gets lazy and addicted. So the brain says that, well, I really like it when you provide for me, when you get that screen up close, or even sometimes TVs can do this too. So that's why we have people, at least a couple feet away from the TV if they can at nighttime, because you don't want to be training your brain so that your brain's like, well, the only way I can produce these beta waves, these attention waves, is to get a screen out. And that's why they become really, really addictive. And that's why people have a really big problem shutting their phones off, shutting their screens off, because it's a reward loop. It's an addictive type of mechanism, and I think we really we understate that, or it's under recognized, and that the addiction is real, especially in little kids whose brains are forming and trying to neurologically upregulate and create. They're still growing, so we got to be really careful. So when the brain becomes addicted, here's what I see in practice, is that it can't properly inhibit itself. All these screens we're using. So you get attention issues. This could be part of the picture. I'm not saying that it's everything, but it's simply something to think about. And then you could get psychological problems where anxiety or depression set in. So you get a trip to the doctor, and what are you going to get? Medication. So that's really not treating the root cause. And again, this audience, I know that you guys understand that we're really looking at this as a foundational issue on how we can optimize our sleep so that everything gets better from there. So it's one of those foundational things you want to make sure you don't have a crack in. So the connection between brain disorders and stimulation from screens, that's a question we have to think about. So I think the answer is just optimize your sleep. Just make sure that you're protecting yourself from blue light. So the night and the dark. So definitely, again, we're going over this. Get some sunshine during the day. Make sure that that evening darkness, when it starts to be dusk, that we start thinking that we need to either put the phones and the screens away or protect ourselves. Because again, your melatonin is really important, and we just don't want to make that melatonin level go in the toilet. And that's what I did when I looked at my phone, probably. So just be careful. And a little bit more on melatonin is that it's anti-inflammatory, and it helps with the immune system, and it's a powerful antioxidant. So we want to respect its levels, and we don't want to do anything that's going to make it crash. And that's where the point of this is, that we got to be really diligent about looking at our phones and our screens, because the phones and the screens will really see the big X's there, will really drop your melatonin. So just be mindful of that. And the research shows that a decrease in melatonin may contribute to the causation of cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and obesity. So that's really interesting. I wrote an article on shift work, and this could be a piece of it, is that we are just, when you're doing shift work, it's really hard on these circadian rhythms, and that's really taking a toll on your overall health and your immune system. So some studies suggest that melatonin might be useful fighting infections, potentially in treatment of cancer. So I would say let's just let the body do what it does well first, and that's produce melatonin, and let's protect it so that the levels aren't decreased. And so this really isn't, I'm not saying go out and take some melatonin. I'm saying let's preserve what we have. So these are the interventions. So this is one of those slides that if you really want to get the gist of it, it's the second slide and this slide. So what can you do? So number one, try to avoid screens about 2 to 3 hours before bed, and everybody's going to be a little bit different. So again, I use my Aura Ring because it'll tell me, and I've learned, I've had it about a year, over a year, and it's been able to sort out for me when I can safely look at those screens. So I have up to about 8 o'clock. So if I go over 8 o'clock and I pull up my phone, I know that it's probably going to impact my sleep because I just learned my patterns, which is really important. So I'm going to do a presentation on the Aura Ring and tracking that because I think it's really cool and very, very clinically useful. So avoid screens 2 to 3 hours before bed. Dim red lights for night lights. So everybody in our house has a red light, and if they'd like to read at nighttime, and actually everybody pretty much does except for the baby, he's 2. We're working on that, but we have them turn on their red night light because red has the least amount of power to suppress melatonin. So it's a very soft red light, and your eyes adjust, and that's one of the tricks that we use, and the kids really do sleep better. And I can tell as a mother when they have maybe pulled out their iPad and didn't tell me, kind of just trying to like send one more little love message to their grandma or something, that when they wake up in the morning, they look really groggy. And I'm like, I bet they, were looking at that screen. So you might be able to tell when your kids are up at night on their screens because they just don't look like they slept well. So number 3 is that if I have to do if I have work to do after the kids go to bed, or if I have work to do after 8 o'clock and I'm traveling, is that I always have a pair of blue blocking glasses. I have several pair around the house, and I keep them kind of like people keep readers around the house, is that if it's 8 o'clock, and even if my husband wants to watch something on TV and it's about 8:30, I will put on these blue blocking glasses because I cherish sleep. I love sleep, and I know my body, it healed from Lyme disease because I really honed in on this, and I was really careful to protect myself from the blue light. That was a big cornerstone in my healing. So that's why I thought it was very important to share with you guys as well. So blue blocking glasses can be purchased on Amazon. They're called UVX, capital U, capital VEX, and then just type in blue blocking glasses. I looked today and they are $7.39 on Prime. So maybe get yourself a couple pair, get your kids a couple pair, because they work. And number 4 would be bright light during the day. So whether that be from a sun lamp up here in Minnesota, that's what we have to use, or just, getting out and getting yourself exposed to bright light during the day is going to help with this. We have on all of our computers, number 5, we have Just Get Flux. And I know that the iPhone and other phones have the ability to dampen the light on the screen. And I will say this, is that even if I'm using these Just Get Flux will darken your screen on your computer, and also the applications on the phone, that I will still use my blue blocking glasses. I have found that it's just not enough to use those apps, that they're good, but they're not as good as coupling it with the blue blocking glasses. So if you're not going to buy the glasses and you can't get your teenager to wear them, at least make sure that you have those apps installed on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer. And number 6 says, and this is probably for me, I should be looking in the mirror and saying this, keep children away from screens. So screens are really, it's hard because, every kid, it's addictive. Okay, let's just say that. It's addictive, and every kid, there's games on there and there's fun stuff to do. So we just try and really limit it down at our house and make sure that we're setting a time limit on it. And because I even know with my 2-year-old, there's this train app that he really likes to watch. And I know that it's emitting that gamma frequency and that his brain is getting a little kick off of it. So you just got to be mindful of that. and make sure that you're just trying your best. But I thought that this is a really important topic that I would present. And if you have any questions on it, I'm going to post this on Facebook. Feel free to comment, and I'll probably post the link to the glasses as well on there. So it has been my pleasure talking with you, and we'll see you next time. And I'll probably be talking about the Aura Ring and tracking all kinds of stuff with it, which is really fun. So talk to you next time, guys.